Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you 5 creative ways that you can use your hybrid gimbal, and to do that I'm using the ZHIYUN Crane M3 S with my smartphone, my iPhone 15 Pro, and at the end of the video I'll show you my little review and conclusion of this gimbal as well. Let's get into it. My first tip to get creative with your hybrid gimbal is to use this in a low worm's eye view, but also, and this is key, to get a lot of depth of field within that shot as you move across the floor. Now with this gimbal you can actually bring the handle really high so you can then go across the ground. So you could do that here, but the grass is very flat. There's not much sort of sense of depth in this area. So what you want to do is find a pathway, an alleyway, something where there's like vegetation and growth that's going to pass the lens. That way you're going to have a lot more depth in your shot, a lot more interest in your shot, and it's going to look a lot more dynamic as well than just having a plain flat ground that you're going to roll this camera along. So make sure when you're going for a worm's eye view, sort of zooming across the floor, that you have a lot of depth passing your actual camera lens, creating much more interest. My next tip is to use a vortex mode on your gimbal. Now, if I go to the screen here and select mode, and then scroll down, I will see vortex. Press on vortex and you'll see the camera turn on the tilt axis facing up into the sky. Now you can use this almost like a flashlight, so if you tilt this forwards, the phone will then face forwards in this torch kind of way. Then you can use the actual joystick here and you can turn, if I face this the right way, you can turn this 360 or continuously. Now you can do this in any kind of shot and it'll be really interesting, but if you look at this kind of shot here where you've got the branches going across the screen, you can actually pull this through an area as you're doing it. So that way you're getting the vortex mode and pulling it through branches, for example, and creating, again, a sense of depth. Depth will always add interest, intrigue, and dynamic feel to your shots. So whilst you're using the vortex mode on this phone and with this gimbal, make sure that you're pulling it through the environment rather than just an empty area. It'll still look nice in an empty area, but pulling it through branches or something that's going to give you a bit more, again, depth, is really going to add so much more interest to your shots. The next step to get really creative shots with the ZHIYUN Crane M3 S is to create a oneer. Now a oneer is a long take shot and it can be static or it can be free flowing and moving throughout space. So if you've watched something like Birdman, you would have seen long one takes called oneers where they move through corridors to different rooms, following the story with him as well. And that's what we're going to create right here, right now. So we really want to get nice, smooth movements as much as possible. And it's actually really difficult because you think, because you've got a gimbal, it's suddenly going to be really easy, but it's actually not. You've got to put a lot of effort into being really smooth with these oneers. Because you're actually using the gimbal for such a long time, you're not just getting a slow-mo shot for 3 seconds like in a lot of B-roll videos, you're actually getting something that's up to a minute long plus. So it's really important to get those shots and movements really, really smooth. So remember, having the gimbal isn't enough to get really smooth shots. You have to be the gimbal for the gimbal and have really smooth foot movement, body movement, and you don't want anything too quick in your movement either, otherwise it will cause a sudden change in the camera shape in the shot. You want to make it buttery smooth the whole way through with your own body movements as well. The next way you can get creative with a hybrid gimbal is to use the height of it. So if you've got the tripod here, which comes with the gimbal, you can attach that to the bottom, as I have here, and then that gives you an extra bit of height. You can also use a monopod with this, which I've done with smartphone gimbals, to give you even more height, so you can get up to 6-8 feet with a monopod attached to this. And then you can bring it up from the bottom, so you're using your legs all the time for these kind of moves, and you're using the body as the gimbal to move it up higher and higher and higher, smoothly as you can. Again, no jerky quick movements like that. We want it to be nice and smooth, and that way you can get a nice bit of height to your shots. And again, using your foreground and all that kind of stuff to bring a lot more depth to it. If you've got different textures, like these branches, for example, with sunlight beaming through, then it's really going to add a lot to the height that you get with these shots and make it much more interesting. So we're always, with these shots and creativity shots, looking to use the environment as much as the gimbal. And the final tip is to use the flexibility of this gimbal to film yourself. So you've got a pan axis, you've got a tilt axis, and you've got a roll axis. That way you're going to be able to get so many different angles with this. And with the tripod, and I don't see people talk about this as a whole that much, you can use this as well to put it on the ground, to put it on branches, trees that are thick obviously, tables, desks, flat land, wherever you are, there's always going to be a spot to put the tripod on, and as a result, put your gimbal on. You can then tilt the phone in many different ways to get different angles, and you can film yourself in a vlog style, travel style, so you don't just have to have it in your hands filming like this, talking to the camera. You can just place it on the ground and have it film you as if someone else is filming you. That way you're going to add more production value to your shots, and it's going to look a lot more professional as well. Overall, I've been really impressed with the ZHIYUN Crane M3 S. It's a really fantastic hybrid gimbal to use with your smartphone, action camera, mirrorless camera. It really is super, super adaptable. You've got the light here, where is it there? That allows you to kind of feel like someone's facing as well, with different color temperatures, which is something I haven't seen on a gimbal before. So you can make it like a warmer, lighter tungsten color or a lighter, whiter daylight color as well, which gives you a lot more flexibility. You've also got that 1/4" mount here, so you can attach something here, as well as having the handle so you can then move it like that with more control. The touch screen is one of the best things about this gimbal, I have to say. It's very, very clear, and you can see exactly what you need in bright daylight like this. About a 1.22" screen. You can see everything clearly no matter how bright it is outside, which is super, super helpful and important. I also really like the wheel at the back here, which is really, really nice. You're able to use that for different things and change that mode of what it does and its function in the screen settings. So you can make it so it controls the pan, the tilt. It's super, super helpful, and you can adapt it to however you want to work, which is nice to have that creativity. Now, being a hybrid gimbal, it does take a little bit of time to actually set up. So that is something you're gonna have to think about. This is not a quick fix for smooth shots. And also the fact that gimbals don't automatically give you butter smooth shots. So you have to remember to use yourself as the gimbal and use your body rather than your hands to kind of move it around. That way you're gonna get the smoothest shots. Now this is the bag that comes with the ZHIYUN Crane M3 S, and it is absolutely superb. The flap at the front here is actually magnetic. So you've got these little round magnets, I don't know if you can see just there. And then they just kind of clip in, and they're magnetically stuck to the front of the bag there. You've also got this front pocket here, so you can put cables, lenses, anything you want in there. You've got a side pocket here to put things in. Same on the other side, just here. And then on the back, you've got these hoops that you can actually fit straps onto that come with this, that are inside the rucksack to make it a rucksack. Then when you open this up, you've got the nice ZHIYUN symbol there. Got a front pocket here to put bits and pieces in if you want to. And then we just unzip the whole thing from here. Goes all the way around the back, and then the whole bag opens up like this, and then you've got a whole amount of accessories here, various cables for charging regular cameras as well as your smartphone. Then you've got the straps underneath there as well, which what you use for the rucksack side of things on this gimbal as well. Part of the bag here as well, should you want to put anything else. You've got a smaller part of the netting bag here too, again for lenses, filters, anything like that. A really nice setup, and I think this is one of the best bags I've seen for smartphone filmmaking. Now, one of the best things about this gimbal is the touchscreen is absolutely sensational. You can see here we've got PF at the top left. I can change mode to L, which is locked, F, which is follow mode. But if we go into mode on the top left of the touchscreen here, you can see we've got pan follow, lock, follow, and as we scroll further along, we've got POV, go mode, which is for like sports and filming things that are moving fast or people that are running. You've got vortex as well, which makes you go pointing upwards, as I showed you early on, and you can do those kind of corkscrew moments as well with the camera. Portrait, so if you want to do this for social media and use it for that kind of thing, Instagram, TikTok, then you can use it for that. And of course, you can just scroll back to any other mode that you want to use with this gimbal. You can also look at balance, which shows you which gears are being stretched the most and pulled on the most. So with this setup with a heavy lens like the telephoto lens for the moment and the filter, you can see that's really pulling on the front end of the tilt, a little bit on the down on the tilt as well. So you can see where you're pushing your gears a bit too much, and it's up to you whether you want to carry on using it or not. Coming out of balance, you've got info, so you've got what language you can use for this, device info, restore to defaults, and then on the bottom right, you've got settings. So you can go to auto calibration and start calibrating. You can go to parameter settings, so you can look at the motor torque, smoothness, follow speed, joystick speed, parameter reset, control wheel set, trigger, BLE, shutter if you're using like mirrorless cameras, fine tuning, advanced features as well. You can go into that to use a panorama effect, time lapse, motion lapse. and vortex mode as well. And the screen is very, very good, and you got your battery marker up here. And I have to say this gimbal does last for a long time once it's fully charged, for about 7 to 8 hours. Now for the standard price of this, it's £299 for the Crane M3 S by ZHIYUN. That comes with the charging cables, a basic box and a tripod. With a combo, which is £359, you get all of that, but instead of the box you get a nice carry case like I showed you and the phone clamp. If you've enjoyed this video guys, then do hit that subscribe button and like button, it really helps the channel grow. And if you want to learn more about smartphone specific gimbals and getting advanced shots, then use this video right here using the ZHIYUN Smooth 5S. I'll see you on the next one, take care.